I'm here just for a flyby. I just really felt important to come up and thank everybody for coming. It's a challenging night to do so. It's Passover, it's the beginning of Easter, and all my Hindi friends, there's more holidays than Hindu religion than any. I'm sure it's a holiday of some sort there. So to get you guys here on a Thursday night is something we're deeply grateful for. This is super important to the Thai Institute and to Thai Toronto generally. We're getting great traction with the Thai Institute under Lalit's leadership. We're being able to attract men and women like we've assembled tonight from the Accelerator and Incubator community to talk to you about the role they can play in supporting entrepreneurship. To get the quality of men and women we have here tonight is really extraordinary, and I'm genuinely and deeply grateful to all of you. I sincerely appreciate you being here tonight. The Thai Institute, I just wanted to take a moment and tell you that we're absolutely thrilled that the Ontario government has been generous enough to sponsor us for a new program next year, which is we're going to be, I think, the first organization that is going to dedicate a very rich curriculum to social finance or entrepreneurial philanthropy and bringing, essentially, introducing all the ideas around creating a social utility index when measuring the value of your entrepreneurial business. So we're very excited about that. There will be a launch in early September. Bill Young, the founder of Social Capital Partners, has very graciously agreed to be our keynote speaker that night. I think it'll be the kickoff of something very unique and special, and I'd be delighted if we could have your continued support. So I am going to turn it over to Lalit to introduce the men and women that are providing our some very valuable information tonight. I think it's going to be a really exciting session. I'm terribly disappointed I have to drive to London, but I've got a 95-year-old father who's getting home from the hospital. Hooray! So I'm going to go take care of him, and I just want to thank you all personally for being here tonight. Cheers.
Thank you, Craig. We're running behind schedule. Welcome to our first session in spring and 24th session of the program. We've had through winter and fall sessions on business model, business planning, funding your organization. We've met the angels. People have presented their business models. They have pitched, and last week they presented their investor decks. So this is time to meet the accelerators. And to take us through, we have Matthew Leibowitz, who has kindly agreed to moderate the session. He normally provides answers and solutions. Today we requested him to ask questions. I'm thankful to him that he's come despite the Passover. On the panel, we have Nilay Goyal, who's the Associate Director with Creative Destruction Lab at UFT. And we have Pinu Bingani representing DMZ. She's a director at the Diversity Institute. We have Sunil Sharma of Extreme Startups, Managing Director. And we have Brian Watson from InCubes. He's the in-residence, entrepreneur in residence. He's the connector in residence. And we are waiting for Chelsea Prescott from Communitech Hyperdrive. She speaks much later, so we will live with that. The format is each one of them will come and give you a presentation of 15 minutes each. We'll break for dinner, and then I'll hand it over to Matthew to do the moderated question-answer session. So without further ado, may I request Nilay to come and make his presentation.
Thank you, Lalit, and thank you for hosting this great event. As Lalit mentioned, I'm from the Creative Destruction Lab at Rotman School of Management. The name a lot of people find kind of interesting, and so just to set up the context, the word creative destruction comes from the economist Joseph Schumpeter, who was one of the first economists to put entrepreneur at the center of the entire economic activity and one of the key features of capitalism. According to his code, the opening up of new markets illustrates the same process of mutation that revolutionizes an industry, destroys the existing one, and creates a new one. And that's an essential fact about capitalism, and that's referred as the gale of creative destruction. Being housed at the Rotman School of Management, we are surrounded by economists, and we take this concept pretty seriously, and that's the inspiration and the philosophy behind the Creative Destruction Lab at Rotman. To just give a brief perspective of our mission and goals, we are there to create a dynamic learning environment for university-affiliated entrepreneurs through this provision of our program. And our goal, we measure in terms of $50 million in equity for the entrepreneurs as measured by financing and liquidity events over the time. And it's open to all University of Toronto students and alumni from all disciplines, including, it's housed in Rotman School of Management, but it's open to, all computer science, to ECE, to engineering, and to political science, applied sciences, and many other faculties existing at U of T Mississauga, U of T Scarborough, and U of T St. George. We focus on mainly creating and building IP-based, massively scalable, technology-based businesses. We don't charge any tuition. There's no equity, there's no cost, there's no tuition associated with this program. The goal is pure philanthropy, and it's open for all the students and alumni to create companies and portray U of T as one of the entrepreneurial hubs in Toronto and across the world. It's housed at the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at the Rotman School of Management. So let me explain briefly how the program works. Our program, we start with a lot of activities across the campus, cross-pollinating the silos across different departments within the campus and across the downtown community with the investors and across the startup community in Ontario in general. Along with that, that files up our application funnel, and the program runs from November till all the way till June. Unlike many accelerator programs, this is more stretched out program because we focus more on scalability of ventures. And as you can see, this is a funnel. And there's a reason why this is a triangle and not a square. It's because as we go along, we cut ventures which are not performing. So as I mentioned, we don't charge any tuition. The only thing that you pay as an entrepreneur is performance. And as we go along, we cut the low-performing ventures so that we focus more and more of our resources on the better and better performing ventures. We provide a lot of the G7 mentorship, that I'll explain in a brief detail. Minimal capital, that's kind of an award that we grant, that we provide, and a lot of social capital in terms of relationships and contacts. Along with that, we provide exposure to the community, to the networks, and to investors. A lot of content in terms of workshops and trainings and leveraging the strength of the U of T's faculty and Rotman School of Management's business faculty, and some services, which I'll come to pretty soon. And our end goal is to have fundable companies at the end of the program in June. So the G7 fellows, they form the core juncture of our program. We have these 7 folks. Dennis Benny, who's the founder of ADR Energy, and he's currently the head XDL Venture Capital. Dan DeBow, he founded Ripple, which is acquired by Salesforce.com. Nick Kudos, he founded Sysmos, which was acquired by Market. Lee Lau, he founded ATI Technologies, which was acquired by AMD. Tomi Putinen, he founded 2 companies. One was acquired by Microsoft and one by Yahoo, and he's currently working on his 3rd one. Dan Schulman, who's the CEO of Verizon Technologies, and which was acquired by IBM. And Nigel Stokes, who has founded multiple companies, and the big one is Data Mirror, which was acquired by IBM. These 7 fellows, they spend a lot of time with the ventures in the program. It's more of, they meet these ventures every 5 to 6 weeks, and they focus more around the milestones of what the entrepreneur should be focusing on in the next 5 to 6 weeks. They're the ones who decide who gets into the program. They're the ones who decide who gets cut from the program. And apart from these 5 to 6 weeks of committed time, they also spend a lot of time during the period. And they open up their social capital, which brings to my next topic. They invest in social capital. They're a highly committed mentor pool. Many of these G7 fellows are also the donors to the lab, and they have deep philanthropic interest of providing to the U of T community. And so they are a highly committed pool, and they open up their social graph to the ventures, making connections, connecting to the network, and also as an investors, they get a first-hand exposure on the founder's ability to execute. A lot of you must have heard from angel investors. Often the problem comes that an angel investing process happens within few meetings. They don't get a chance to view the ventures over time. Here, these G7 fellows get a time of 8 months to spend with these ventures, and over that period of time, they get to they get to judge the ability to execute from these ventures. In terms of workshops, we conducted a lot of workshops from faculty and industry people. One of the names I can see actually was we had him conducting a workshop on risk mitigation, and from the faculty we have Professor Brandon Calder and Dr. John O'Dwyer, who conduct a pretty popular course called Getting It Done, and they have conducted a tailored version of Getting It Done for startups. We also have Professor Ajay Agarwal, who's the academic director of the lab, and he conducted a session on designing a strategy for business. Professor Joshua Gans was more focused on the pricing and entrepreneurial strategy for digital ventures. And a lot of industry folks, including Ernst & Young, Nigel Stokes, Matthew, and who could come. And this list is just the workshops and the events that we did till now, and this is an ever-expanding list. Also, we have partnerships with various service providers, including Ernst & Young and Osler. Ernst & Young provides free accounting services, financial advisory services to the ventures for the program. Osler provides free legal services to these ventures, which is one of the very valuable facts, and we are very grateful to have them. We also have a partnership with Rackspace, which provides server management, cloud hosting as part of their Rackspace startup program. And our events, mainly our applications open in June, and the interviews happen in November, and the program runs from November all the way till June. And just give you a brief idea of the kind of ventures that we have in this year in our program. We have a company called BioNIM, which is biometric recognition through Heart ID. You have seen biometric recognition through fingerprinting, through iris. They do it through your cardiac signal. And there's a work that came out of research from PhD in electrical and computer engineering at U of T. Then we have Fleetbit, who offers taxi fleets for management software, and recently they launched their product with Diamond Taxi cabs in Toronto. Canopy Labs is a Y Combinator Summer 2012 alumni. They are formed of a McKinsey ex-McKinsey consultant and a U of T physicist, and they are basically working on predictive customer analysis, and they are there to change the way the consulting industry for small and medium-sized businesses work. Chematria is a molecular document simulation software, which was one of the winners of TypeQuest in 2012 or 2011. And currently they're also part of the Creative Destruction Lab, where they provide molecular document simulations for pharmaceutical drug discovery. Mevoco, they put the voice on everyone's name, where the pronunciation of everyone's name becomes just easier. Western Expressions, they're developing a revolutionary way to advertise to large corporations using NFC technology, and they have a bunch of patents on that as well. On Acoustics, they monitor cancer treatment monitoring and response monitoring through ultrasound, which is one of the very innovative ways of cancer treatment monitoring. It's based on more than 12 years of research work out of U of T Computer Science and Bioinformatics Division, and they're based out of Sunnybrook Hospital. They work with Sunnybrook Hospital and U of T and University Health Network. Tenepal, it's kid-friendly design, stories, and education program. Vote Compass is an online education tool that runs during election campaigns, and they're launching their Vote Compass version for ABC News Australia. And they did that with the federal elections with the CBC News in Ontario. And also one of our one of the recent successes with the labs was Thalmic Labs. Thalmic Labs is wearable electronic devices. They raised over $1 million in funding through our G7 in December, and they are part of the Y Combinator Winter 2013 batch. One thing I would like to point out is, because the way we are structured, we don't take any equity, we don't take any, there's no conflict of interest, and a lot of our ventures we see are, like Thalmic Labs, they're currently a part of Y Combinator as well as Creative Destruction Lab, and they fly over for every G7 meeting from San Francisco to attend those. And there is a deep value in what we're doing because it provides more focus on scalability. These entrepreneurs that we have and the trainings and the workshop that we conduct, they provide more focused versions of training over a longer period of time that allows the companies to scale, while and in that period, like starting the problems from customer acquisition to scalability to and other different problems, and that's one of the unique value propositions that that we have. With that, I would like to conclude the presentation, and feel free to answer any questions that you might have.
We have about 4 minutes for questions. Any questions?
Just a quick question. The Ophthalmic Labs, are the people that sort of that associated with Steve Manning? He's a professor at U of T, who's one of the originators of wearable computing. I don't think so. Point of interest. No. Question. Okay.
Who funds you and what are they looking for? What will keep them at the table?
So we have been funded by private donors, and John Harris from Harris Team. The founding partners of the labs, they've been John Harris from Harris Team, Dennis Kavelman from, right now he's with Desire to Learn, Dan DeBoe, Dan Schimmerman, Nigel Stokes, Dennis Benny, Osler. Yes, some of them are GSUN members, some of them are not, like John Harris and Dennis Kavelman are not. And Ernst & Young and Osler, they have also donated money to the lab, as well as, apart from providing the free services, in-kind services. So,
is the university also funding you? Is Rotman or is the
Rotman is not funding in capital, but they're providing a lot of infrastructure around that and providing all the access to space. We have a small space where we are organized at, and also, a lot of different spaces like places like library access and internet access, and generally of other facilities across the university.
Yeah. Creative Destructive Labs is probably the third or fourth organization within U of T that I've heard of that does incubation or an acceleration program. Are you working with any of these other programs?
Yes, we have talked with Cynthia Go from Techno Program, and also Next36. How we differentiate between them is, so Next36 takes undergrad students, extremely smart and intelligent undergrad students from across Canada, and makes them entrepreneurs, teaches them entrepreneurship. A lot of our companies that we have, Tenopal, Leapway, they are Next36 alumni. We take those companies and help them scale. The same goes with Techno Program. So Techno Program takes research scientists from the labs and builds companies out of the research work. We help, after that company passes from a basic, changes from a project stage to a product stage, we help them scale. So some of the companies like Gematria and Acoustics, they were part of the Techno Program before. And we do work in collaboration with these two programs in particularly, and also we've been talking with UTest and other programs too. So.
Is there any?
Just a bit of a follow-on. You didn't mention Mars in that. How do you manage that relationship with Mars?
Oh, Mars is, as you know, it's a key partner for U of T, and entire research commercialization, the IP process happens through Mars. So we do work with many parts of Mars. Like we are also having a partnership with Mars Data Catalyst and Mars Innovation, and so we do work a lot, but it's more on a case-to-case basis, because some of the companies that, like Bionim that I mentioned, the cardiac recognition, they're based out of Mars, and Mars and ECE department. So we do have a very strong relationship with Mars and different divisions within Mars, and even the strategic partnerships with Noel Miller, Mars, and the Data Catalyst and Innovation as well. So we do work very closely with them.
One last question, yeah.
So is it only in technological industry, or you can fund in traditional, like let us say food expansion or something, green tea or?
It's more focused for scalable companies. And when you say technology, it could be, technology could be in agriculture as well, as you mentioned about green tea or something like that. Even that's a technology in our perspective. And while we are not solely tied to any particular domain in terms of like ICT, or we have a pretty good mix of healthcare, as well as we have a political science company, we have software companies, and we don't have a particular focus, but we do focus a lot on scalability and how much the potential a company has to scale into a massive company.
Did I get it right that it's open only for elements of your field?
For students, faculty, and alumni of UFT. So it's the requirement is one of the co-founders has to be a student or an alumni of UFT.
Thank you so much.